Welcome to the official headquarters of Kool Keith's music here on YouTube. 10 months ago I released my crazy long ass video where I look at all the 58 albums of Kool Keith, and ever since then I have been shunned for my opinions. I have been praised by his fans who are equally interested and invested in Kool Keith. But what has been current in the old times of 2019 by now is outdated. Because in the meantime, in the first half of 2020, Kool Keith has already released 3 new albums. And today we're gonna take a look at them. I'm extra hyped today because I also have Deano in the house. Deano, my good friend from London. What up?
What's up, Sebastian? What's up, Kool Keith universe? You all ready to go? Okay, let's go. Walk with us.
Thanks for taking part in this video because I know you're equally a passionate fan of Kool Keith's music and his persona. Deano is gonna be doing some unboxing, some bonus stuff. We might even be looking into some EPs and albums that I haven't covered in my first video so that we get a complete view on Kool Keith's catalog. Only here, only in this place, on whole YouTube. Check it out, y'all. Without further ado, let's get started on part 2 of our Kool Keith journey. Here we go.
I'm an innovative person. There's nothing you can do but bow down. I'm one of the best MCs in the universe. Roscoe, chicken and waffles.
And boys and girls, we are blessed. We got 3 new projects by Kool Keith. Very different in sound, in theme, in style. And those 3 albums are Computer Technology, Sex 5th Avenue, and Space Goretex. So let's start off with Computer Technology. Technology.
Computer technology.
Completely produced by DJ Junkersloo, who we already know from collaborations on Love and Danger, Tayshaun Dorset the Preacher, and who we also know has done the mixtape, official space tape for Kool Keith. That's how they hooked up. That's how they got in touch late back in the year of... It's a great album. It's almost up there with Tayshaun Dorset in my opinion. Strong beats, strong performance by Kool Keith. He's very present on this album.
Money in the bank and vaults, let her take her panties off. Dance with her lip gloss, flip bra, silk drawers. Look at her now, she's moving on her all fours. Cover nigga on the sauce, your girl like a real boss. Tommy on the hill walk.
Songs I want to highlight from this album, the strong ones in my opinion are Stay Out the Business, with these nice kind of Caribbean sounding drums.
Stay out the business. Stay out the business. Stay out my fucking business. Rappers on the radio can lick my ass.
Heavy Like a Chevy, Computer Technology, Rhymes of Torture, Really Gotta Do This, Write It Out, Money in the Bank, Nikon D80. In my opinion, those are the strongest songs. Now I want to check out Nikon D80 with Deano. The song is pretty straightforward, very dynamic. We have a nice piano melody that comes off a little poppy, but it works really great with the drums. And now when Deano sets in with his verse, it's really refreshing to hear. So let's check it out.
Nikon D80, see me 10 P80. Nikon. Even if the odds are against me, I'll push it till they miss me. Benzo, Maybach, Maserati, mysteries. Ain't nobody missing me, fucked in the game. Got abandoned in the industry.
It only comes in with a playtime of 44 minutes, yet it felt a little bit long. I would have cut 3 tracks off. I wasn't really keen on Dream From and Twinkle Toe and Alvin Kelly. I didn't really get into these songs too much. The rest is really solid. It's a solid album. A great addition again for Kool Keith's catalog. And now I want to finally come to my favorite song of this album, which is really fucking great. It sounds like this 80s arcade game song with a really driven bass line or something that you would hear in an 80s action movie. And it's a song called Write It Out. Straight fucking forward, a great banger, so get your fucking party pants on. Here we go, Write It Out.
Write it out. Competitive losses make these guys ball up and turn into turkey sausages. New Jersey jet, your bitch showing where Secaucus is. Ride at night, you know where the seahorses live. Scared man, won't you speak on it, kid? Make rappers quit shit in they crib. If you nice to earn your verse price, I can piss in your ears.
Just a solid album, so I'm happy that we have Computer Technology. Let's switch over to Deano for some unboxing. Deano, take it away.
Computer technology.
As you can see, computer technology, the artwork is beautiful and it's reminiscent of a lot of pinball art, the intricacies and the vibrancy of colours and warmth. You got Kool Keith in a half android perspective and he's almost protruding out the centre of a robot, and then you got the lettering in almost an electric style. You got Stay Up the Business, where Kool Keith goes in on the industry puppet, so to speak, and also proves his eccentric attitude and his ability to create freely and independently in terms of him being self-made, opposed to many artists of today which are molded and shaped by the industry. In terms of sound dynamics, that's the sound that you want, that travels through the floors and travels through the walls, that kind of emphasis, because it actually replicates how the hip-hop clubs used to be. And then that's why we call tracks bangers, because it was the concise sound of sharp beats and heavy B lines with a nice MC over the top. And that's what, for me, computer technology demonstrates.
Alright, next up, let's talk about Sax Fifth Avenue, where Kool Keith teamed up with producer Landon Price.
The pretty aunt got a job in strokers, want me to stroke her, but Clarence is a Carter. Toyota come through, you give me HEAD and a Sonata.
And let's start off with the song Miami Mike, which has this ominous, kind of spacey, open, wide sound to it. It's a really great song, a strong song to start off the album. Miami Mike, check it out.
I wear white polo, my coat costs more than a Range Rover. You got a woman you can't stop from coming over. Ass cat, come sit on my lap and meet the composer. Miami Mike coming up 95, spinning Georgia nights.
For those that don't know, Sax on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan is this fancy kind of store, so we're dealing with, maybe as you can see from the cover, with more of the luxurious lifestyle kind of rap, mentioning names: Karl Lagerfeld, Christian Dior, Kate Spade, Marc Jacobs. Who are these people? Quick Google search: Marc Jacobs, fashion designer; Kate Spade, fashion designer; David Webb, I'm just guessing, fashion designer. So he's talking all about that stuff, but it's concise. Kool Keith is about fashion, he's about photography, he likes that stuff. So, little side note, I've been to Sax myself a couple of years ago when I was in New York City. I tried on a suit, I looked pretty fucking fancy, I didn't buy it, I didn't have that money. And Kool Keith likes that store. He wants to go there, he wants to shop there, and he wants to buy some champagne to put it in the ladies' ass cheeks.
Wear Monty and Tom Ford. Your girl say I'm bug when I spray the cork. Jack Malone, you still great flannel. Your women say my jock strap come with a smell you can't afford.
I kind of have to stop and wonder what the hell is going on with this cover. So clearly we have reference of the whole style of Master P, No Limit, as we had already back in the days with Dr. So we have great social commentary on this album cover. The birds for freedom and peace, but also for being way too big. The next song I want to highlight, probably my favorite song from the album, and it's called Mary. It's a great song, it's really catchy, really poppy. It has elements coming in and out of it, like this kind of synth melody that is supporting the piano. Great song, check out Mary.
P on your guest star status, Madison Avenue, your mother out, your girl cheating at your brother house. Women say you like white powder on your pancakes, my coat Fox and Coyote, y'all wear rat and mouse. You and B out, the Biggie was out, your pants so tight you can barely crouch.
The next song I want to look at has more of an urgency to it. It's more tense, a bit more darker, but yet using the same kind of sound style, so staying very consistent with the rest of the album. And it's a track called Bring 'Em All.
She rock a see-through dress for the press. Watch rappers try to showcase for Gap and Guess. I leave early, your mom wait with red bottoms, with a nightie in bed, Fredericks. She love everything in Fred's. Baker all the time, she bought me from Ted. Gwyneth Paltrow with Don Julio in the studio.
Sax Fifth Avenue, a great addition and just a great album. It's very pleasant, very melodic. The only downside I find with the album is that it's just a bit too long, with 58 minutes and 16 tracks. I kind of wish we would have gotten rid of 3 tracks, bring it down to like 50 minutes, 48 minutes. I think that would have been a stronger album. But overall, it still means we have a lot of strong songs. I'm very happy for this. Also that they put this attention to the cover art. I think cover-wise, that's also a great addition to Kool Keith's catalog. Music-wise, definitely. Landon Price, you've done a great job. Great collaboration. Now let's check in with Deano for some unboxing of Sax Fifth Avenue.
Givenchy by Ricardo.
Another amazing art piece for a Kool Keith cover. Got the two babes there with the champagne in those precious areas. Got the custom Kool Keith Rolls Royce, Black Elvis branded. And you got the Kool Keith lettering that's branded in diamonds. And you got that nice glare, which is a nice effect. And the way Kool Keith's dressed just correlates so well to the background. Goes nice in correlation. And it makes the girls stand out and so forth. So very striking cover indeed. Good choice of colours. All in all, Saks Fifth Ave is a very good album. It's not going to blow you away immediately. It will take time to grow on you. But in terms of being an easy listening album and story-based album, it's very well crafted. And melodic rhythms complement Kool Keith's lyrics very well.
Christian, open the door.
Now let's have a look at Space Goretex, where Kool Keith teams up with a band called Thetan. And Thetan sounds like this. Lovely. Let's have a look.
All around. Let's take a trip. All around. Let's take a trip.
On Space Goretex, Kool Keith brings back three of his most famous characters, where we have droctagon, blackelvis and droctagon, all on one LP. Now who the hell is Thetan? Thetan is a metal band from Nashville, Tennessee, and they have teamed up with Kool Keith. In a weird way, this album is reminiscent of Ideas of a Masterpiece that Kool Keith did with the Japanese guys from 5471. Only in contrast, this album is rather straightforward, more simplistic than Idea of a Masterpiece. And instead of robotic kind of nervous drums, here we get metal drums. I have to say the metal drums get pretty repetitive. It's always kind of the same drum programming. It's not as much variety as I would wish for. Part of the reason might be that these guys, they don't do rap music. So that's, I guess, their interpretation of hip-hop drum patterns. And they use their own instruments the whole time. Every song sounds very much identical to before, slight variations, which is not to say that it's bad. I like the style, but there's just not as much variety as if you would have when you sample stuff. When you sample music that is pre-existent and you sample from all kinds of sources, your drums will have to adapt to that. Here I find the songs are very similar to one another.
They all spend vacations in the sweet islands, drinking coladas, cash and checks, octagon driver Lex, right in the Virgin Islands to buy pets.
So what's rather significant about Space Goretex is the use of the old instrument, the theremin. It's this instrument that you use with both hands, where you have like the electronic waves or something, and it makes a sound depending on where in relation to the instruments you place your hands and if you vibrate and whatnot, and it creates this weird sci-fi 50s sounds like that, exactly like that. And I think they have used the same instrument on Idea of Masterpiece. That's why it sounds very similar. In fact, I want to play Let's Take a Trip, which reminded me very much of Idea of a Masterpiece, but in a less nerdy, nervous way, more in a dark horror way.
Riding down to South America with my cock out to the Virgin Islands. Vagina Lucy smiling, pussy hot like charcoal. I got off the plane, she didn't complain, giving me brain. Dr. Octo was there, playing in her head. Pussy big like the World's Fair.
I want to show you the song Hallucinations, which is very dense and very dark, and it uses a great sound effect. I don't know if you can hear it, pay attention to it, where it sounds like from a video game and the character is just dying. It's a sound like So I would try to put that in the sound clip. Just check it out, man.
Light years ahead strategies, the solar system, largest moon, the globular cluster, the lunar crater, the studies on the Vector 1, while you eating the Burger King 2 for 6. In total darkness, the galaxies in HD, clear prototypes, detected in your section, supernova all over. Hallucinations, Space Goretex.
The next track I want to highlight is called Night Heist, where Kool Keith brings back droctagon and blackelvis to bring him along on a night heist, where they rob pawn shops and whatnot. And you really get this feeling of this is a song that is kind of happening during the night, because they also use the theremin here, the theremin. Just a great song with this kind of stalking bass line. We get a mentioning of crooked cups, and it brings me back to my vision, and I still hope it's out there, manifested in the universe, just like I'm manifesting going to Canada with my head. We need a Crooked Cups album still. AG, Kool Keith, bring him together, similar to Cage's theme record he had with Kamutao called Nighthawks. Check it out if you haven't, it's brilliant. Similar to that, I would love to have AG and Kool Keith on a feature LP called Crooked Cups. that is produced by Ray West. Anywho, I'm getting off the topic here. So let's check out Night Heist, Black Elvis and Dr. Doom heisting around.
Black Elvis and Dr. Doom robbed a porno shop. Just got off in pursuit by 2 cops. They said it was 2 men doing the mock. Up to 2 men in hip hop with ski masks and flip flops. Black getaway car hitting the Lincoln Tunnel hard. Followed by 62 DTs in the squad.
Clocking in with 40 minutes, Space Goretex is the shortest of the 3 albums, and I think it's a good length for this type of album. We have a few skits and interludes that are really fun to listen to. I want to point out Roadside Blowout, where we get a feel back for Kool Keith's old times and porn style and sex style. In between the album, we have actually many skits. Track 11 and 12 are 2 skits in a row, so I find that's a little bit too much. What I find remarkable about this album is that it kinda is reminiscent of sex style, if you want. Even though we have real life instruments here, because of the very bass driven approach, it's actually very similar. Just check out the song Bedtime Stories, for example. It's very chill, a bit snoozy, but it's pretty cool.
Is she married? Her style varies. She like the little house on the prairie. Quite contrary. She on her trees picking cherries. That's her coming with the berries. At nighttime you ready. Get splashed on your belly. The mashed potatoes cooking steady.
Unfortunately, there's a track called Robots on the Automators, and the track is really cool, but it cuts short. It stops after 1 verse. I think it's like 1 minute long, which is too bad because we have many skits, but I think just that song, just make it longer, kick out a skit, would have been better for the album. So now my final opinion on this album is I think it's pretty solid. We have good tracks, I would say. It's 6 or 7 tracks that are solid. The only downside I find is that it's kind of repetitive and monotonous. We only get like 1 color of sound due to the choice of instruments and the restriction for live instrument due to the fact that the producers, Thetan, the band, is a band, so we don't have the variety that we get usually when you have different kinds of samples from different genres of music like jazz or soul or like abstract shit. This album is not as differentiated in that sense, but the overall mood and the overall style I pretty much like. That's why I still consider this a pretty good entry for Kool Keith's catalog. If you're a Kool Keith fan, definitely check it out.
Engine 3, Engine 4.
Alright, now let's switch over for Deano for some unboxing.
They should just make a check for $300 million. Cut a check for a movie out this.
The brand new shiny Kool Keith XD10 Space Goretex album. And what an amazing art piece this is as a cover, in an abstract sense, as the black moon sits neatly beyond the distant red blood sky. As you can see, it's like in a skeleton boneyard. Got the buff chick there, looking sexy and strange at the same time with a shell as a face. Moving on to the back cover and we'll see a continuation, whereas this time it's a black sky with the white clouds more prominent in the foreground, and then onto the tracks. So we got like a deep vibe, and I would say that there's like 10 to 11 tracks on this album because it's made up of quite a few skits and intros that carry it through. Here we have the vinyl itself, which is a blood red, which coincides well with the cover. Kool Keith and Space Goretex. What an amazing album, especially for lovers of the Dr. Doom and the Mr. Nagato, because this album, it combines both the horrorcore and the deep space vibe. So the album's got a nice continuity in terms of you don't want to extract too many tracks because they continue on through the album. It's like one massive road trip. And there's one character called Vagina Lucy. She appears in more than 2 tracks on more than 2 or 3 occasions even. So basically Kool Keith will be stopping off at gas stations, refueling, you know, stepping out of 18-wheeler trucks. Roadside, you're getting a lot of horrorcore, deep nighttime vibe from the album. And the B lines, they just flow in, interweave so nicely. And even violins will come in and out at points that really add that authenticity to the vibe of the album. It's just really deep and horrorcore, especially tracks like Bad Dreams, where Kool Keith, he incorporates a few of the characters, Dr. Doom, Octo, into one.
Welcome to halftime of this video where we switch shirts and switch over to a new section where I not just change my shirt, but we also change what we look at. Now that we already have looked at the new projects, now I want to go back in time and look at the gems that I have forgotten in my first video, in my new section called The Forgotten Gems. So let's kick it off with Execution 1 from 2005.
Philadelphia 76ers is my black uniform. Ask Allen about me. Spick 16, I shoot reform.
Execution 1 is so obscure, I have never seen a hard copy of this. I only own the download, which cost me $3 on Bandcamp, so if you're interested, go ahead, download it. I'm not sure if it's worth it, you be the judge of that. And I want to start this off by showing my two favorite tracks from this album. The first track being Fake My Stuff with this nice electric guitar melody and this R&B beat. And it's very reminiscent of his personal album, so if you like that, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like this track. And you get Kool Keith, very animated, high energy, high pitched voice, similar to his performance on the White Label Mixtape series from 2004.
You complaining, mother? You complaining, sucker? Your man is alright, I don't like the voice delivery, what you giving me? Get that guy a rapper's permit and make sure he fit. Per diem for the whack ass, I tame his black ass.
One thing that really strikes me is how much I like high-pitched Kool Keith. High-pitched Kool Keith rules. And the second favorite track of this album is called Another Man. Again, it sounds very similar to the personal album, which I personally love so much. So quite naturally, I like Another Man. Not literally Another Man, but the track Another Man. And on Another Man, we get Kool Keith with this kind of speak, talk, singing performance. It's very enjoyable, very listenable. Check it out.
No, 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 I don't want to change your plan. I watch a lot of people in movies, I know what they did to get the part. I won't bend down to the story in the industry. They're qualified to spread their cheeks apart.
The weird thing about this album is that all the track titles seem to be made up by people on the internet. It seems as though they were released without an actual track name. So we have track names on this album that are actually taken from other albums. We have Keep It Real Represent, which is a title off of his Sex Style album and his Big Time album with Tim Dog. And we have another track called Get Off My Elevator, which is a title of a bonus track from Sex Style. And whereas Keep It Real Represent on Big Time and Sex Style were really good tracks, on this album it sounds more like it was taken off of Seventh Veil with Jackie Jasper.
The ladies talk too much, Paco will bring them even higher. A real Spanish slap for Tony Touch. I get in the rectum and speak to the program director. Payola baby, get rid of the grease monkey.
Execution 1 is definitely one of his street albums. We don't even really know who released it, if it's kind of a bootleg and a mixtape. It's not really clear what's going on with this album. We have literally no information on it. So it has a similar feel to his Lost Masters album, his personal album, yet not as good though, and his Commissioner albums. In fact, we have two tracks that sound very familiar to Lost Masters, which is G-Strings and Freestyle, with very minimalistic beats, kind of annoying. Check it out.
Rappers out there in the city, you think you professional, nigga. The first time in the studio, whack rapping ass nigga. His crew on Pro Tools, nigga. Edit the hype man. First on Jump Street, you and I just began. You still using the lens. Weak in the ass. The light shit you program is thin.
Unfortunately, I don't own this album as a physical copy, so I can't hold anything up. But if you do, please hit me up. I might be a grateful buyer. Overall, the beats of the album are not too great. It's not totally bad, it's listenable, but it's nothing really special. The best part about the album, I have to say, is Kool Keith's high-pitched energy. I wish he would carry that over into more projects. Really great. And the two tracks that I mentioned. Okay, and now let's have a look at a very obscure EP. It's called the Conference Room EP, and I assume Conference Room is the name of the group consisting of Kool Keith, Dennis Def, and Titus Pan. And it was released in 2006 or 2007.
Eat it up like applesauce. I run the field like Randy Moss. I shut the doors on your stylist. We the wireless. So busy you can't dial us.
This EP is only 5 tracks heavy. It sounds like they had a lot of fun recording it. The best track on this EP, in my opinion, is the song called Execution. And for that track, they actually got a feature with Motion Man, who sounds a little bit unenthusiastic. But due to the fact it's Motion Man, he still comes off pretty dope, has some cool rhymes. The only downside I found with the song Execution is the last 1.5 minutes, they just stop rapping. It's just a beat that keeps playing for no apparent reason. for 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, I hear funk, I smell funk, I shit funk, I speak funk. Touch like Omarion. Sinister more rap shotties hovering human bodies. Motion stronger, mangler, tightest weapon arranger. Keep prescribing medicine, don't practice euthanasia. Pain is destructive, your brain interrupted.
Overall, the beats on this album sound a bit like Casio keyboard stylish. For example, the song 1922, which I kinda like actually, sounds very familiar to the style that we hear on Kool Keith's Lost Masters. So I would maybe assume that 1922 was produced by Kool Keith himself.
I wrote the songs for the one-hit wonders. Ask Kenny Chess about this, and Trini Rez about this. With Tina Knowles on my arm, the big broker dealers who bought you LeBron.
Dennis Deft we know already from the Bikinis and Thongs album, which he did together with Kool Keith in 2009. Coincidentally, on the EP Conference Room, we have a track that sounds very familiar to the style of Bikinis and Thongs, and it's called Skeleton Nobody on It. Check it out.
A drop top Corvette, blonde chick in a corset. You can call me Las Vegas cause I'm something like a sure bet. I got the girls who love my poison like a Michael Brett. You know the routine, the conference room on the scene.
Now let's talk about the rarity that I'm very glad to have, and it is the mixtape Bloodsport by Project X, Kool Keith and Tim Dog teaming up once again in 2008.
I carry the weight you niggas are scared to touch. I fought in the war, you niggas are scared to listen. I carry the weight you niggas are scared to listen. I carry the weight you niggas are scared to touch.
So Project X, that's Tim Dog and Kool Keith. And originally Project X was also featured by Mark live. On this mixtape though, he has an appearance, but he's not named as being part of this Project X project. Tim Dog we already know from Kool Keith and Tim Dog together as Ultra with their album Big Time, which is fucking fantastic. Check that out if you haven't. If you've seen my video before, I'm not the biggest fan of Project X's album Iconic, but for some reason this just kind of does it for me. Now I wouldn't say the style is totally different, it's pretty similar actually. In fact, there are 2 tracks, if I'm not mistaken, that are also on the album Iconic, which is Iconic, that you find on this one, and The Underground Kings.
Tim Dog, Kool Keith, Mark Live, Top General Chiefs ×5. You just sons of us, bastards, you get a spanking. Do your homework, don't fuck with us.
So again, we're dealing with this kind of bouncy, hustler, player, beat style, if you know what I mean. Which is not really up my alley, but on this album it kind of works, and I actually have a few favorite tracks that I want to show you. First, I want to start off with Get Money. Get Money has this really bouncy, groovy bass line, and it has these weird tones. Boop, 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 boop. It works, it's a headbanger, so check out Get Money.
So serious stalker, I'm a renegade, paint my face. Desert eagle at my waist, lasers at your wife, legal.
Now I'ma have to peek out the peaker, show 'em how to park on Bleecker. Hit 'em with the heat seeker, practice chicks sound fabulous. With style and grace, watch your contraband, watch. Don't let a cellmate take a piss in your face.
Now the next track I want to show you is called Who's That Bitch, and it's track number 5 of this mixtape. The beat itself isn't really all that great, but when Kool Keith sets in and he's switching it up with this other person who has this kind of high-pitched voice saying, "Who's that bitch on your cellular phone?" It's a great dynamic, it's pretty funny, so check out Who's That Bitch.
I'm a doctor, I'm a photographer, I'm a scientist, I'm a killer.
Who's that bitch on your cellular phone?
Nigga, shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
The mixtape is 20 tracks heavy, and it's produced by Tim Dog. It was distributed by Rap Legends Recordings, and as far as I know, they sold it at concerts. I'm not sure how many copies of this exist. Only recently I found out about this mixtape, and I was lucky enough to get a copy. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to obtain a copy of this. I don't know how rare it is, but I think it's pretty rare. So all the more reasons I'm really happy to have this. Usually this is not the style I would go for, but yeah, for some reason this mixtape just kind of does it for me. It's an easy listen. I think it's well produced actually. The sound quality is great. Everybody who's involved sounds really engaged in the project. Kool Keith is kind of switched on this. It's great. I like it.
What the fuck is your mission? To be stuck in a mental prison. Delusion of grandeur, your decision.
Overall, I would say this album could be appealing to you if you're into more gangster rap and bouncy beats. Then I think this could be right up your alley. I would say definitely check out Bloodsport if you have the chance to. Good luck though, because it's very hard to find.
What you doing coming home early in the morning?
Bitch, shut the fuck up. I do what I wanna do.
If you have watched my first video, you know I've talked about the Cenobites album. If you haven't seen the video, link is in the description, check it out. Because now I want to talk about an EP that I didn't even know existed. And it's called Pull the Trigger and Step by the Cenobites. And it must have been recorded between 1993 to 1995. The Cenobites, that's Kool Keith and Godfather Don.
Rigo, let's maybe a Rolls Royce, maybe have Madonna on tour with the carriage in my baby.
On this EP, you get this very typical sound of New York underground that was so typical around this time. You get the very heavy horn section samples, those stomping drums, and the aggressive style of rapping. Just check out track number 3, the title track of the EP, Pull the Trigger and Step.
I used to be what you call cool. I never was hell until I played the fool. Like Frank Castle when the hassle didn't wanna, but I have to. So after the battle, I let him have it with my 2 force, deadly, lyric ammunition. Glock 22 from my lip make incisions.
On track number 2, which is called Hot Grip Promo Part 2, we get a feature of Cage. Now I don't have any information if it's Cage, who we know from Movies for the Blind and Hell's Winter and his collaboration with Kamutao, Nighthawks. If so, then we have a very early performance by him around the time 93 to 95. So check out track number 2. It has a very nice simple bass line. This is Hot Grip Promo Part 2 featuring Cage.
Eyes on you, true, I never lacked the guts before the hair on my nuts. I smoked up Newports to the butts. In case you haven't noticed, the moms can fucking blow this. I'm barely in reality, splattered them out of atomy.
And now I want to show you my favorite track off the EP. It's called Your Time Is Now, where the beat is just a little bit more relaxed. At the same time, you still get those very heavy drums. So check out Your Time Is Now.
They don't know what or how or even where when it's party time. They got their heads up in the air. No time for dancing. Music I will spectate. How can you put out humans? One look like grape ape. You pay professionals money to take that picture. With monkeys on that record cover, people can't get with you.
Personally, to me, the most funny track on this album lyrically is called Lazy Women, where Kool Keith just showcased really early on his weird choice of subject matter, which would later become very infamous for him. So check out Lazy Women, which features a nice use of this electric guitar sample, or maybe live instrument, I don't know, but check it out.
You sitting home and you the mad one. Never washed them clothes up in the hamper. She left her drawers on the floor in the sunny pamper. You can't sit up at night and think alone. That baby cry for milk, she's on the phone.
Definitely, I would say if you're a fan of Cenobites, of the first LP, you will definitely like the 6-track strong EP, Pull the Trigger and Step.
You got a lazy woman. She ain't working.
And now let's have a look at the infamous EP, the infamously obscure EP, Big Willie Smith, aka the Beat Terrorists, Big Willie Smith, the Big Willie Smith EP from 1995.
Whacking C's in all color magazines. Eye on the kid, I see suckers wearing makeup.
The EP Big Willie Smith consists of 4 tracks. 2 tracks on the A side are produced by Cutmaster Kurt, who went on to produce Sex Style for Kool Keith, and the 2 tracks on the B side are produced by a producer named The Funk Igniter. And the first track of the EP is a very familiar track. It's called Keep It Real, Represent, and also ended up on Kool Keith's first solo album release, Sex Style, in 1997.
You want some new stuff? I heard about that sex change. You got a vagina, your grandmother think it's strange. New eyeliner, you was flirting with a gay designer. Your girl felt mines and pulled off her Calvin Kleins. I saw Tampax gone to real red stop sign.
On track number 3, If You See What I See, which is produced by Funk Igniter, that has a very gritty underground New York sound to it. Kool Keith is featured by Syndicate East. Unfortunately, I have found no information on this rap group, but the first rapper sounds very similar to Scaramanga. Now, I don't want to say it is him. I don't want to claim that because I don't know. Check it out.
I get numbers and gradually get around the corner when I feel like it. I don't be round nose and showing affection and giving them superstar caliber. I'd rather roll back with the blunts and tip absolute waste time when I have them picking on prostitutes.
The Big Willie Smith EP was Kool Keith's first ever solo release, and it was released on the record label Funky Ass Records. Unfortunately, Big Willie Smith was only released in 500 copies, so it's very obscure, very limited. The whole EP is very strong, very tight production, great beats. It's very reminiscent of Sex Style with the use of funk samples and heavy bass lines.
Big spender, number, play a lotto winner, tasting honey, with broad scheming on my money, like O.J. Simpson, obsessed with a Playboy bunny, mad style kicks and flows through your nose like Vicks.
And now we're gonna have a look at a side project, that being Siamese Sex Show. Check it out. The next project I want to have a look at is quite the oddity, and it's called Siamese Sex Show Apocalypso from the year 2005. And it's quite surprising to find Kool Keith featured on this album. On the other hand, it's not that surprising, as Kool Keith is quite the oddball himself. That's why we're here, that's what we love him for. So let's check out Siamese Sex Show Apocalypso.
I'm riding in a Benz down Rodeo Drive.
I go get that, make your heart shake to the top. You rock it, baby. Ladies know my game and fame. Switch up the lane, 2 tons of fun. Check up the charts from the start, breaking #1.
This album screams pop rap. The production value seems quite high. It's well produced and mixed. Siamese Sex Show seems to be the name of the rapper slash singer. Her singing is actually pretty good. Her rapping is okay, but it's more of a pop rap. And since this is a video on Kool Keith's music, I want to focus on the tracks where Kool Keith is featured. Starting off, I want to have a look at Playboy. I'm not super keen on the chorus of the track, but Kool Keith's part just makes the whole track very listenable. So check out Playboy.
Ease up your size, strong pull, don't need a fly ride. Anything I break into, the money I divide. Under the wig, I'm up on this, girls can't hide, the credit is boosted.
One of my favorite tracks on this album is called When We Ride, which features a nice guitar melody that sounds very smooth, and the track is just really bouncy and groovy. So check out When We Ride.
When we ride, we're all high, and all the haters just fall to the side.
Kid with the pop, you know I rock, hit it from the back with the tone of the bass down. Ass up, face down, sexy to bump one, hump 1 and 2, and girl, it's you.
Another track where Kool Keith is featured is called Love Light, and it's just this super uber poppy piano beat. I'm at a loss, but you should check it out.
You know I wanna hit it, but you move too fast. Triple S, make you wanna scream, hell yeah.
Girl, I'ma touch you in a hugging way, a big loving way. I hope you doping my loving day with all that heart and sharpness from the start. No shame in my art.
And it's a track like that and an album like that that shows us that Kool Keith can literally rap over any beat. Overall, this album is not really great, but once I received my ordered CD, I'm sure I'll be playing this on a sunny Sunday morning for 2 to 3 tracks for sure. For what it is, this album is actually pretty listenable. If sunny pop rap is what you're in the mood for, make sure to check out this album. It might be a missing gem in your Kool Keith collection. For everyone else, I think it's not as appealing if you're more into Kool Keith's harder stuff like Droctagon or Sexta. In my next section, I want to highlight a few tracks that are out there in the Kool Keith universe that you might not have heard of. So check out obscure bonus tracks. The first song I want to highlight is called Crime Don't Pay. It's produced by Cutmaster Kurt, and it seems to be from the year 1994. It's a feature of Kool Keith and OG Natal, who I have no clue who that is. He seems to be a rapper who has been incarcerated quite a while, so he might just have a few things to tell you that crime don't pay.
Don't let your days waste and drift. Stay away from the bullies who cross your path. Stick to your science and math. You are what you are. Social studies, arts and craft. The vocals guide you to the right path.
And the next track I want to show you is called Super Dynamite, and it seemed to be produced by a producer called droctagon, who somehow seems to be linked to the production of Ice-T's album Home Invasion. Now I have no idea when this track was released, but just by going off of Kool Keith's voice and his cadence, I would guess somewhere around the early 2000s, as Kool Keith comes off super animated. Check out this great track, Super Dynamite.
I drop a dominating plan. Ask any artist on Interscope. My post on the wall in Kevin Lyle's office at Def Jam. Leo no, ask him about my flow. I watch Furman developments, rookie MC start to grow. Groups like Take 6 come and go. Ask Fred Durst about me. Barbara Streisand, no, I'm a pro.
And the final song I want to show you is called Dr. What, and is featured on the album of Whatever Your Heart Desires, who seems to be some sort of a drum and bass experimental group or one-man production. I'm not quite sure. The album is called Falling Up and was released in 2019. And the track Dr. What with Kool Keith is really great animated video as well. And the remix of the song Dr. What is also really great. So check out Dr. What.
Fred mock with mockery. I play it over time, no docking me. Civilization crossover into the dining area. The smell of plumeria. Fragrance for the playlist.
doctor.
808 drumming, rebundle the runner. The lyric hunter is fact, extended verbs and words.
And now we're gonna switch over to Deano for the unboxing of the EP Uncrushable. Deano, take it away.
Kool Keith's Uncrushable EP is a nice little number which will feature Planet B and also Junkadelic Lou, and you've got some space sci-fi sounding beats and rhymes as Kool Keith puts himself in the perspective of, say, a Dr. Octagon, and he's just really going in on the science rhymes against some heavy drums and bass in a very striking EP.
Work in the modern field for evil money, the cotton pickers balance content on their heads and get bigger.
So now you're fully up to speed on Kool Keith's music. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't watched my first video where I look at the 58 albums of Kool Keith, make sure to check that out. Link is in the description. Also check out my top 10 favorite Kool Keith albums ever. Also link is in the description. And check out Deano's video for a more in-depth look at his unboxing and some bonus stuff that you haven't seen in this video. All the links are in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Take it easy.
We're the bubblegum boys, the bubblegum boys, the bubblegum boys. Lollipop, it's the lollipop, get lollipop.